Good day and welcome to the Brandon Mason Show. I'm so glad you guys are on here. And if it's your first time rocking with me, please like and subscribe. Let's get this thing rolling. The more we build, the more we do, we're going to get a bigger outreach. I want you guys to understand what's happening. But let's just talk about what is happening this weekend. There's a big event at the Hard Rock down here in South Florida. If you haven't followed or haven't seen it, Jake Paul is doing some big things. And the man is evolving. Could we just say that? Is he evolving? I mean, the question that people have, and I think the world has, is Jake Paul changing the sport of boxing? Not just because he's a good fighter, not just because, he's rallying the troops, but at the end of the day, the guy is bringing attention to himself in a big way. Whether he wins, he loses, Jake Paul's doing some big things. And I'm going to pull up a picture real quick because I want you guys to see the combination of these two people. Look at this. If you were to ask viewers a while back, and I'm going, a few years back, who would even think these two belong in the same conversation? I know I wouldn't. If I took a look at these two fighters from a few years ago, Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul, this is an upset, a landslide. But if you looked at what happened in the last fight, it almost felt to me as if Jake Paul was training for a fight and Tyron Woodley was a little confused. And obviously he's a UFC fighter. He's not a boxer. I understand that. And that's an argument that people say, put Jake Paul in the cage. And listen, that would sell more tickets than anything. But at the end of the day, Tyron Woodley is a professional, not just as a UFC fighter, but also from a standpoint as a wrestler. He was a champion. He's going in the ring fighting Jake Paul for the second time. But the first time, it didn't turn out that well. And he's got the tattoo. It only turned out he got this opportunity to go back in the ring because of the opportunity with Fury, who backed out due to an injury, which we don't know what that exactly was just yet. But let's pull up one quick thing. So as you look at Jake Paul in this picture, right? It's when he was fighting last, came out, and he was all pumped up. He's out in Cleveland, had a great fight produced. I got a couple notes here because I just want to go over what's so important about this guy. Regardless who you pick, okay? They're both going to come out and do well. I'm sure they're both training well. And I know Tyron Woodley didn't have as much time to prepare, but he's a fighter and he should know what's going on. But let's just take a look at this. Okay, Jake Paul, Cleveland, Ohio, tough kid. Didn't have things come easy. Wasn't like he was handed everything. He was a Disney, or you want to just say actor. He was in that kind of world. And so that took a little bit of the toughness out of his name, right? So the respect on his name for fighting was minuscule at the time because he was an actor. It was, Disney, that Mickey Mouse kind of feel. And that's probably why people didn't look at him too serious. But the guy's in shape. His brother's in shape. They're not wasting any time. And the biggest thing I want to discuss is the hard work and the dedication that this man puts in. It doesn't matter, if you originally didn't like him. I was not a fan of Jake Paul. I wasn't, wow, this guy's a fighter. This guy, the minute he got in the ring and fought someone that was serious, Nate Robinson, I don't know what's going to happen. That was something that we didn't know was going to happen. But now he fought Tyron Woodley and he won. Okay, regardless how you spin it, if it was close doesn't matter. If you're going to beat this kid, you don't have to knock him out, but you got to put some damage on him. And I don't think Tyron Woodley did that. So I think Jake Paul did win the fight. And this fight now, let's just say Jake Paul, he's the one that's got it all to lose. I mean, if you look at Tyron Woodley, he really doesn't have that much to lose anymore. It's some little respect maybe, but Jake Paul is climbing numbers. He's climbing numbers. He's not fighting people that don't fight. This is a serious fight. Not many people could get in the ring and beat Tyron Woodley, whether it's boxing, wrestling, UFC, and Jake Paul's done that. And I'm going to pull up a couple other things. So here's what I think about Jake Paul. We're going to talk about Tyron Woodley, but here's what I think about Jake Paul. It's not just what he does in the ring. It's not just his hard work, dedication, which is most of everyone's fight. It's your hard work, your dedication, and how tough you are in the ring and what you bring to that. But the most important thing I will tell you that this man does, that Jake Paul does, and why he's a winner, he's a marketing genius. And if it's not him, it's people around him, but he's a marketing genius. Okay, this guy is bringing people together. Some people hated him. Some people loved him. He brought the compound, all those people in one pit, and they're all fans now. They're all fans, including myself. I'm a Jake Paul fan. This guy is showing people that you can do what you want to do. And he wasn't given a pair of gloves and said, here you go, you're a fighter and you're going to be great. He's training. He's putting it in. You see his family. You see his friends. You see his relationships. He's putting it out there saying, listen, come beat me. Come beat me. That's what he's doing. He's calling people out. Come fight him. And listen, Tyron Woodley, I'll tell you this. I think he's a great fighter, great role model. I think he's probably the best role model you're going to see doing this right now. He's one of the best. He's a good person, cares about his family. Jake Paul on the other side was not a role model. He was more in the trouble scene and party scene, and you just didn't hear good things about him. Now, Jake Paul is becoming a role model, and I think everybody across the planet and people watching Showtime Boxing is going to put on this fight, especially on Saturday, December 18th. When you watch this fight and you see Tyron Woodley knuckle up and go against Jake Paul, I got to tell you, my hat's out to both of these fighters. But Tyron Woodley, I seen here, Missouri, UFC, signed with Strikeforce. He was a champion. One of the best. The question that I have for Tyron Woodley is, if he loses this fight, I think he's almost done fighting. Not saying he's a bad fighter, not good. This is his last real fight. And if I look at these numbers from the last scorecards and everything, I think Jake Paul has everything to lose. Everything to lose. If he loses this fight, Jake Paul, no matter what, starts coming down because it just doesn't help him because he won this fight. If he would have fought Fury, I think it would have been better. I think this is still going to sell tickets. But at the end of the day, the big picture for Showtime Boxing, for ESPN, for every major ticket sales, look at the bottom of the screen. Those two fighters, the reason why the stage is so big, it's not because how great they're fighting. Jake Paul is a marketing genius. Like I said, he's a marketing genius. If you look on whether it's social media for Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything that he's doing is blowing up because he's showing you, put the gloves on, put the training in, and you could become a winner. And I find it very, 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 very difficult for people to put on that show. And I think more importantly, even if you're not the best fighter, you really don't want to fight him, you're going to fight him just to get the big payday. And I think Tyron Woodley's going to get a payday, but I also know he's going to bring it to the table. And if I had to bet my money right now, as a good person, Tyron Woodley's a great person, and I'm rooting for both these guys to fight well. But I just don't think that when you come to the table, my predictions, I think Jake Paul's going to win the fight. And it's not because of the hoopla or the market and all that. I just think that Jake Paul really puts in the training. He puts in the training. He's going to come to the table. He's going to be prepared. And I don't think Tyron Woodley's going to have enough behind him to win this fight. And if he is going to win the fight, he's going to have to put on a show where the judges can give him the fight and say, you won. So I think the best chance for him to win is to knock him out. That's what I really believe. Again, my hat's off to both these fighters. I think Jake Paul is going to win this fight, and it's going to be exciting. Guys, if it's your first time watching, again, please like, subscribe. I got a lot of things coming, a lot of fun opportunities for people and the celebrities, the athletes. You're going to see trending news, sports talk. We're going to do a lot, and I'm excited to have you guys watching. Again, until next time.